Joining me now from Toronto, Ontario Conservative MP Stella Ambler, the NDP's multiculturalism critic Andrew Cash, and the Liberal urban affairs and housing critic Adam Vaughan. We should just start calling you all MPs because we're in an election, so that's what you're all really doing, is trying to, the writ hasn't dropped, but you're all trying to stick around. Stella Ambler, I'm going to start with you. So your government has taken these unprecedented steps, I think we can all agree, to promote the program. Millions of dollars spent on commercials. Pierre Poilievre has gone on this cross-country tour to sign up families, countdown clocks, ministers asking people to tweet in once they've got their checks or their money, Christmas in July. Is this all just about trying to win votes on the taxpayers' dime?
Actually, it's about trying to help families and to give them a hand, because it costs a lot of money to raise a family today. And we understand that, and we want to make it a little bit easier for families. I know, as a mother of two myself, I know how hard it is, and I know that families need a hand. And so that's what we're doing. So we're actually quite pleased to have announced this today. And I mean, this means that families of young children will now be receiving $160 a month instead of $100, and the benefit is extended as well to children right up to the age of 18.
I already went through all that,
so
I already went through all that, so you wouldn't have to. But the timing, the timing, you would agree, just a couple of months before an election would make people sort of wonder, hey, that seems like more than a coincidence there.
Oh, well, for sure. We've been talking about this for a long time, in fact, since last year, and we did say that we would implement it as soon as we could have a balanced budget, which we do now have. And that was, so the family tax cut and the UCCB increase was put in place through the budget 2015, which, as you know, we just voted for in June.
Okay,
so hence the July date.
Let's bring in Andrew Cash. Andrew Cash, what do you make of the government's efforts to sell the benefit?
Stella's right. It does cost a lot of money to raise kids, and let's talk about how much it costs in the city of Toronto. It's costing upwards of $75 to $100 a day for childcare. Families are carrying mortgage-sized childcare payments. So when you're talking about $160 a month, that's welcome news for any family struggling to make ends meet. But this isn't going to create a single childcare space, and that is why we need a comprehensive, accessible, affordable national childcare plan that's going to cost no more than $15 a day.
Okay, you're saying that, Mr. Nash, at the same time the NDP says you're going to keep the benefit around, so it's not like you have a major problem with it.
Well, look. Families are having a hard time making ends meet. That's actually an indictment of the Conservatives' management of the economy and how much they've failed the middle class. But let's be clear. Stephen Harper promised to create about 125,000 childcare spaces. He's been in government for 10 years now, and he has created not a single one. This announcement isn't going to change the issue of childcare. We need an affordable, accessible, quality national childcare system that costs no more than $15 a day. That's a win-win for families right across the country.
Okay, Adam Vaughan, you weigh in on that, and I know the Liberal Party has a child benefit. Any plans to also deliver some sort of child care spaces?
Yes. I mean, you're going to see the full platform rolled out as we get closer to the election day. You've seen some of it this month already. But there's a flaw in both parties' thinking. On the one hand, the Conservatives are handing this check out today. What they're not telling you is they're sending a taxman after the election to claw it back. And that's going to really hurt families that spend the money this week and then find out only this time next year that they're going to have to give it back in taxes. That is not a help to Canadian families. That's just simply politics. And the trouble with the NDP's platform, we agree with them. And I think you could find us working together to create a national daycare program. The trouble is the $15 a daycare slogan is not much more than a slogan. It still requires to be funded. It's about $130 billion in promises now from the NDP with no real costing put in place. And the other problem with that proposal is that it's going to actually require the provinces to kick in about $3 billion. And if you go to Atlantic Canada, you know they don't have that money. The Liberal plan is quite simple. We double the child tax credit, we make it tax-free, and then to further assist middle-class families is a 7% tax cut to middle-class families. That's real structural change on the financial side. You're going to start to see our housing programs, our daycare programs, and the way we support families structurally to deal with poverty coming down the road.
It's hard for me to judge your daycare program given that I haven't seen it and you're criticizing the other one. So let's put at least one of those points to Stella Ambler. It would seem to me, Ms. Ambler, if you were really trying to help families, make more sense to not have it taxable? Because it is true that that retroactive payment that families receive today, they're going to have to pretty much hand that back in taxes by the end of the tax year. So why did it have to be taxed if you really wanted to help people out?
The money goes to all families, as you know, and those who are in the very highest tax brackets, yes, it will be. It is a taxable benefit, so it will be taxed at the end of the year. That addresses the point that the Liberals that they're making, which is that it only helps. It shouldn't help everyone. I actually believe that it should help everyone, and that it should be fair, and that it should be universal, and so that because everyone. Everyone needs a hand up, and it talks to stimulating the economy as well. So when you
how does it do that?
$3 billion,
yeah, how does it do that?
Because, well, when you're $3 billion worth of checks and direct deposits were made today. In fact, even Governor Polo's of the Bank of Canada said that this would create a noticeable effect or a ripple effect or something like that in the economy, because families will go out and they'll buy back to school supplies.
Well, I mean, there was one fellow on Twitter here who said, yeah, he's going to buy school supplies. Another person just emailed me to say they're going to pay off their line of credit. And in fact, the governor of the Bank of Canada said that actually most people will use it to pay off credit and to pay off debt. So how does that?
I think we shouldn't judge what people use the money for. Most of them understand it's for their children, and
no, I'm not judging.
To be clear,
Ms. Ambler, I'm not judging how people are using their money. I'm suggesting, I'm challenging that it is a stimulant for the economy.
Sure.
Well, this isn't going to create any childcare spaces, Stella or Rosie. I mean, well, the governor of the Bank of Canada more or less infers that, and actually so is Stella today. What we need is an actual plan for childcare. We've got a childcare crisis on our hands in Canada. Boards of trade, chambers of commerce, city councils, provinces across the country are clamoring for the federal government to do something. We have a plan, and that plan is a childcare plan that will cost families no more than $15 a day.
So if it's a crisis, why doesn't it kick in the first year? Why do you take up until 2019, 2020 to get the money fully implemented? And how do you get those spaces created immediately if you still have to sit down and negotiate with the provinces? We had a national daycare plan in place. Your party voted against it and defeated it in 2005 and gave us a decade of Stephen Harper. But the issue is this: if we have a crisis, why aren't you putting a plan in place now that actually funds cities directly, funds provinces directly?
Mr. Nash,
Mr. Nash, it's called $15 a day childcare.
Mr. Cash, go ahead and respond.
That's the slogan. It's not a policy.
Okay,
it's
Andrew
like
Cash.
Rob Ford.
Thank you.
Andrew Cash, go ahead and respond.
Well, I mean, it's hard to criticize the Liberal childcare plan because they don't have one. This is our plan. We've talked to people right across the country. We know in Quebec that this plan has helped over 70,000 women re-enter the workforce. It's been excellent for the Quebec economy. It's good for kids. It's good for childcare workers. This is a win-win. It's long overdue, and it's an election away.
Right, but I think
nobody's quarreling. Yeah. Nobody's quarreling with the principles, and I think we have shared values on daycare. The issue for us
Adam Vaughan and then Stella Ambler. Adam Vaughan, you can finish up there.
No one's quarreling with the principles and the values that are embraced by this slogan. The trouble is, it's like talking to Rob Ford about subways. It's a slogan. Sitting down with the provinces, working out the details, actually requires a lot of effort and a lot of money.
Well,
Andrew Cash and then Stella Ambler.
Where does Nova Scotia
well, here's the thing about slogans.
Okay, Andrew Cash and then Stella Ambler.
I mean, here's the thing about slogans. Liberals ran on a slogan of childcare. They were the majority government for 13 years. They didn't create a single childcare space. They ran before that. They ran on a slogan of ripping up the free trade agreement, and then they signed a
I need to give some time to Stella Ambler because it's her government's idea, so I want to give her some time to defend it. Go ahead.
Obviously, the message here, and one that I think parents understand. I know I talked to a number of moms today who were very happy. One of them even showed me her check that she had already received for her son Riley, and I'll tell you, they understand that they're the best position to spend the money, whether it's on child care. You know, oftentimes we think of child care in one very limited way, and that's the kind of child care where you drop your child off every day, Monday to Friday at 7, and pick him or her up at 3 3 or 4 p.m. Or a little bit later. And you know, there are many more different types of childcare. That's why the Liberals and the NDP plans don't work. That's why ours works, because we think that you should give parents the money directly to use as they see fit. And part of our family tax
but
cut
you
plan
recognize, Stella Ambler, that you recognize that $160 doesn't pay for all kinds of childcare. The childcare costs a lot of money, right?
So this is one part. This is one part of a family tax cut and benefit program. And so another part of it is actually childcare expense deductions. And so part of the family tax cut is increasing every age limit that a parent can claim by $1,000. Every claim, so it's about,
how many
I think for children under 7, it's $7,000 or something like that. Well, the more money you give parents to pay for childcare, the more spaces are created. But it's not just daycare spaces in government daycare.
So where is that? Where is that? I mean, you've had almost 10 years
with your
to create
neighbor
a
or with your
space.
friend who looks after your child after school for a few hours. Not everyone needs full-time government-run daycare. That's just, you know, that's just
well,
a fact.
if you're living in an expensive city like Toronto,
all kinds of different arrangements.
Okay,
so,
I got to wrap it up there. Thank you. Interesting debate. You put a lot of different positions out there for Canadians, and there may not be a writ drop, but I appreciate that already. Stella Ambler, Andrew Cash, and Adam Vaughan. Maybe